Welcome to Local Living Tri-City, your go-to podcast for exploring the vibrant communities of Temecula, Murrieta, and Menifee. Join me, Liz Jones, as we dive into real estate insights and local business stories, bringing you closer to the heart of our Tri-City area. Let's get started with today's episode. Hey everyone, welcome back to Local Living. I am your host, Liz Jones. Thank you so much for being here. So today I am going to talk a little bit about what it might look like if we are indeed moving into a recession, what are the signs of a recession, and how that affects the housing market. It's been top of mind for a lot of people. Obviously, in my world, we are looking at houses all the time. We have potential sellers and buyers. And what are the hesitations that we're seeing, especially here hyper-local versus other areas of California and the US. So we're going to touch on those subjects. I hope that's of value to you. If you like what you see, please subscribe, hit that like button. We appreciate your business. So what are the signs that potentially show a slowdown in the market? Well, the first that we're seeing is a huge inventory spike. So what that means in real terms is that more listings are coming to market. So we've seen an increase of about 50% over the last 2 months. And as I talk to other professionals, they too are experiencing more listings coming to market. Now, that's a great thing from a perspective of buyers. Clearly, you have more choices, more options, and you could be a little more selective. But from a seller standpoint, that's a little tougher. Is your home in top condition? Is it priced to attract a buyer? And is it fresh? Is it new to market? Or is it sitting there for several months? So we have some new things that we're playing in our playground. That brings us to the amount of days on market. So if we go back to December, you're going to see we still had 20 to 30 days for a house that's a new listing, that's in good condition or priced correctly, to go into escrow. From January, February, and now March, and leading into April, we have seen that time nearly double. So in Temecula, you're seeing approximately 54 days, between 30 and 50 days on the market when priced correctly. And in the Murrieta local area, we are seeing that go up as high as 60 days for average days on market. Now, how does that affect that inventory and those pricings as we go there? So let's propose that we put your house on the market in January and it sits for 60 days. Now that inventory from January spills over into February. Now we launch 10 new houses in February. We have January's inventory plus February's inventory equals what we see, and they will carry through the next 60 days or more. And now we have double the inventory. So how does this play out for our buyers? So there's more negotiation room. We have been clearly in a seller's market with low inventory since pre-COVID. What we found is that once the interest rates dropped, people were negotiating for a low interest rate refinancing, and now they have 2.5%. So why move? However, things change, life changes, and those properties are now coming back to market. With that change, we've seen insurance costs rise, possibly double, changing things. Taxation is high. Interest rates for those that are forced to move or going to make a move, they're almost seeing a third higher in trying to get a new payment. The cost of home replacement homes are rising. I get that a lot, is that I can't sell this and get equal to it someplace else, but the holding costs are pretty high. So that's another reason. So inventory rising, home sitting longer, again, over 50 days in our local market, more price reductions. So as I or another professional get to look at a summary of an area, so I'll have clients that ask me, I'd like to find a house in Wildomar and I want it in this price range in this neighborhood. So we can easily do a sweep of that area and we look at the average days on market, the average square footage, the average cost per square foot, and then we get to see all the down arrows. Down arrows inside MLS indicate price reductions. Now, it's no simple solution of what the average price reductions are. I get asked that question, and it really depends. So if your seller understands a shifting market and what that might mean to prices down the line, and they are motivated, they move to where the house should sell, right? Your professional is going to suggest to you, I need you to consider a 10,000, I need you to consider a 20,000 based on other comps and where these other houses sold. And if you choose to listen to that advice, then more than likely your house is going to get into escrow. But let's say you still feel that your house is worth this, the buyers are clearly not coming right now, and you want to put it here, but the right number is here, you're going to find that you are going to sit a lot longer until you pick a price that the buyers are intrigued with. I have a house that's in San Jacinto right now, and it's priced at $479. Clearly, it's very hard to find anything under $500,000. It has been a hot commodity because the condition is great, the location is okay, and the price is right. We'd get 20 showings in a weekend, which is incredible. And ultimately, we got offers, and they are full price offers because the house was priced correctly. And then I have other properties that will sit because we are not yet priced correctly, and sellers want to give it some try. They want to give it some time. So we have to make some determinations about that. Let's talk about what's causing all of this. So the interest rates are still high, although they are coming down. We are seeing interest rates in the sixes, and often we are negotiating a cost coming from the sellers that will help buy down the interest rate, getting you into the fours. And I see many happy people with this. Sometimes you have to negotiate that in the price. People aren't going to just throw away $15,000 a seller, but we may be coming into that plan. We have potential tariffs on the horizon. This will affect mostly the new homes, as the new home builders build with lumber that comes from Canada. Their appliances may come from other places like Mexico or Canada. We talk about building materials in general. These all will receive tariffs. So this will likely affect a new home approximately $10,000. So you'll see an increase in new homes by at least 10% or $10,000, I should say. So it may make more sense to choose a resale home than a brand new home unless it needs major renovation. And then you'll be caught right up in that purchasing. Consumer confidence. So consumer confidence since January has taken a dip. I think there's a lot of uncertainty, and we have seen that even in our organization. We've seen folks lose a little money in the stock market when it dipped, take a step back from what they were planning on doing. It is come to light. The consumer confidence is a little bit on the low side. They're unsure what to do with their funds. They're unsure whether or not this is a good time. They're unsure whether or not home prices are going to drop and they should adventure out into that time. So consumer confidence being low. And of course, we talked about the rising insurance costs being here in California. Those LA fires have affected all of us. Now, it will ripple effect through the entire United States. I've heard talk about Florida rates going up, Texas rates going up, Colorado rates going up, and obviously we have here in Southern California. I think I've been quoted, my original insurance cost is about $1,200 for my home. It went to $2,500, then to $2,800. I am now at $8,200, and I fully expect a huge increase, probably over $12,000 for my particular home. That's $1,000 a month that I did not count on. So as those costs rise, the cost of home ownership rises, and it weeds out those qualified buyers. So those are reasons why we're seeing a shift in the market. So let's talk about what causes a shift in the housing market during a recession. We're not officially in a recession, but if you start looking at GDP, looking at consumer spending, looking at
the predictions of what's coming around the pike, consumer confidence changing. These all have indicators, and we've probably been toying with recession for a while, but we don't call it that quite yet. It takes several months before it catches up and the government says we are officially in a recession. So we suspect we're probably at a 50%. All my findings is that we're about a 50% chance that we will move into a recession, and that usually lasts 10 to 14 months. So we can be prepared for that, but after the recession, we all climb. So that's kind of exciting. So what to watch out for in case of a recession? We have a job creation and unemployment. So are we creating new jobs? Do we see a spike in unemployment? Are businesses cutting wages, cutting people, cutting costs? These all are good indicators that we are moving towards a recession. And obviously, as that trickles down, it will affect people's ability to hold on to their house, to buy a house, to make changes to their house, to maintain their house. These are all things that affect the housing market. How about stock market? One of my clients was affected by the stock market that shifted a few weeks ago, and the money that he set aside to buy a house, he was actually in escrow. He found that that money was liquidated. It dwarfed as the market dropped, and he was not prepared to move forward and made a decision to bow out based on that result. So that'll affect a lot of people. If your net worth goes down by $200,000, you may rethink whether or not a purchase is a good idea at this time. And then, of course, we talked about consumer confidence. You know, when everybody's saying, hey, things are picking up, you're going to see momentum. People are jumping into the game. We saw that in COVID. I remember that here's everybody locked up, and the next thing you know, we're jumping through hoops with paperwork to line people out the door to see houses. We were taking numbers to get inside, and people were lining up with masks in line to come see houses so they can make multiple offers. I mean, consumer confidence was picking up. Germs were not, but consumer confidence was. And those are the things that change the market flow. What happens to housing during a recession? We can expect a lower buyer demand. Now here we have an increase of inventory and a lower buyer demand. So when they cross, when the price equals the demand, that's when a purchase actually happens. So get ready, sellers. This is your warning sign that if we are moving that direction, if we have truly shifted from a seller market to a buyer market, it's time to act. You have already passed the peak performance for this cycle for your house. And if you want to capitalize on the equity that you now have, it's time to actually sell, and be open to the advice of your professional. They have a pulse on what the market is and when it's going to sell. Otherwise, if you're holding on to it, you may lose $50,000, $60,000 as the market climbs down. Okay, price softening. We talked about those down arrows that are happening all over. I think I did a search for someone. There were 34 homes, of which 30 took price reductions in an average price point of $700,000 in a local area. So when you look at that, everyone's feeling it. Houses are sitting, they're not selling. We have to adjust the price in order to bring it within market, and there'll be a percentage of those homes that actually close. And then we are going to see increased foreclosures as people find that they cannot hold on to the house. If there's job loss that comes, we're also going to see some short sales. I have one coming back to me now. It's the first one in a long time for a short sale. And in this case, just for those of us that did not live through that short sale process, what are the advantages of doing a short sale? So you've removed most of the equity out of your home. That's not everybody. There's a lot of equity in these homes right now. But let's say you bought in the last 5 years and you're not comfortably making that payment. Your payment's $3,000, $4,000 a month, and you no longer have your job. You have a cushion maybe of $20,000, which is probably eaten up in your your seller's closing costs during a resale. So how do you get out from under this bad debt? And that's a short sale. So in this case, we find out what you owe from your bank. We position and market your home for sale at a price lower than what you owe. Your bank will generally cut you a check nicely, a small one, but it's still a check that says, thank you for not destroying the home. Thank you for getting out when I sell this, and I'll take care of all of your expenses to sell the home. And let's just make this clean and say goodbye. And so those are going to start coming back to the market. I have one that's coming up next week. And in this case, it's a long process, but the only thing that you really hurt, it's obviously any money that you put out may be gone, except for what the bank is willing to give you, and your pride and a little bit of your credit. It does take some time to recover from that, but as many have already done so in the past, it was a wave. This may come back full cycle again. I want to caution that a recession does not always mean a housing crash. We had a completely different situation the last time. We had subprime mortgages that were given out. That trickled down, and that really was the result of what we saw in 2009 and beyond. But I want to let you know that just because we're having a recession does not mean a housing crash. It means a reset, a recalibration. And that's really important for everyone to hear here. So advice for sellers, for those of you that are sellers, know your motivation. Are you just selling because maybe I want to sell? It might be a good idea. I was thinking of moving out of the area. This probably isn't your window. This is not a good time to just test the market. For you, my advice would be to be prepared to ride in your house, stay in your house for the next 5 to 7 years, because we have to see that down ride and come back into the value that it likely is today, if it comes back to there at all. So know your motivation. If you need to sell, this is the time to capitalize on that and get out with at least as much equity as you can, and listen to your professionals. When you price your home, it needs to be a price that stands out. We gave that example of over in San Jacinto, a $479 that's really great condition. No problem, we're in escrow. And it didn't take 27 days. It took 5 days. It took 7 days because it got notice because it was priced correctly. And that's what you need to do if you need to sell. And then your condition matters. So there's a lot of my clients that will prepare their home. They clean it, they wash it, they clean the carpets, they scrub deep. But families are different now. Our young families that are occupying these big houses, they don't want carpet in their house. They see it as an inconvenience. They have to tear out that carpet. Now, what does that mean to you? Do you have to tear out the carpet and put in these great, floors for these young people to buy your home? Possibly. Or you have to price your home to accommodate that, or give a carpet allowance so that they can do that. That's not always conveyed very easily. The pictures don't convey that very easily, but we have to think of how we can prepare your home to be the best on the market. If you're trying to get top dollar and it's just an average home that's never been updated, it's going to be a challenge for you, and you're going to need to drop your price significantly. And if you need to sell, that might not be the best strategy for you. One of the things that I like to tell my clients is that if we happen to be pricing too low, it's a guarantee I'm going to get you multiple offers and lots of showings. However, if you price too high, we're going to end up finding that you're sitting on the market and we're going to get crickets. So no showings. So anyway, I just wanted to give you that perspective. And this is not a gloom and doom for every place. I hope you understand that. We are cautioning our clients, and especially this is hyper local. So properties in LA are still receiving, because of the low inventory, the low availability, they're still receiving multiple offers and driving up prices. Properties in San Diego, same thing. There's lots of buyer interest down there. Again, low inventory, not enough, so that drives up prices. But here in Temecula, we have a booming little economy, but our prices have tried to catch up with LA. It's tried to catch up with Orange County. And for this area, we are probably overpriced and we need an adjustment. And so we're starting to see that come to market. And so it's really important. If you have any questions or you'd like to find out more about this economy and where it's going, I would love to answer you. My name is Liz, and I appreciate your being here with City Local, and we hope that you will possibly visit us on the next episode. Thank you very much.
Thank Thank you for listening to Local Living Tri-City. Stay tuned for more insights and stories from Temecula, Murrieta, Menifee, and surrounding areas. Be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with a friend that is passionate about the Tri-City area as you are. Goodbye for now, and we'll see you next episode.